Hi everyone, it's Allie, and I'm going to try and knock off the first 5 prompts of Ethony's 31 Days of Tarot 2022. I almost said 2021. I do that every year. It's going to take me till like March. And I'm doing this really on the fly. I don't have much time right now. So I just want to play, you guys. And so these answers are super quick and what I had to hand. I'm already 8 days late for it. And I said on my reading video, I did a week ahead reading just now, and I wasn't maybe going to participate this year because it's so crazy and busy, but this is what brought me to YouTube in the first place, and it's fun and I like it. And so I'm going to be inconsistent and I'm going to miss probably a bunch and I'm going to be late, and that's how it's going to be for me this year. I got a lot of other stuff going on. Anyway, but I'm here and I'm excited. So the first 5 prompts, the first one is, what tarot decks did you get over the holiday? Now, I don't tend to get decks as gifts, or what, it wasn't even decks. It was like, what tarot goodies did the holiday bring? And I just don't tend to get them because I have a lot and people don't know what to get me, which is fine. I'd rather people not sort of shoot in the dark at that, because then it's just another deck and I want to be able to use all my decks. And I actually went through and I'm going to be more harsh about culling ones I'm not using and moving them on. I find it really difficult, but I'm going to do it. Anyway, so these are things that I had gotten for myself. So the first, and I did mention this in my week ahead reading just now, and I know, this is so funny because I was like, I just don't read Oracle. Just no more Oracles. I'm not doing it. Bought another Oracle deck. 2, actually. So dumb. Well, I have high hopes for this one, though. I'm pretty excited. So this is the Green Witch Oracle. It's published by Rockpool. And I have to say, as of this minute, I had a big rant about Rockpool and how I felt they'd sort of fallen down on the Green Witch Samhain Oracle. Is that what it's called? Green Witch Samhain? No, or is it just Witches Samhain Oracle? Oh my God. And I put it away. So I don't know. You know the one. That's not even Samhain. Oh my God. Should I start this video over? No, forget it. I'm doing it. It's not. It's the Witch's Yule Oracle. The Samhain Oracle, I don't have. It's the one I've hemmed and hawed about. The Yule Oracle, it's got a bunch of spelling errors, drives me mental. Anyway, so, but this deck looks gorgeous. So these are the backs. So reversible, if that's something you mind. Not too shiny. And for every card, it's got like the elemental energy, a keyword, the identification of the plant. So it's fennel, a bunch of other images on there as well. And first of all, I just think they're really beautiful. Second of all, this is an area of my practice that I'm really, I don't know that much about, plants and herbs and things like that. And so I thought it would be a fun way to learn. Thirdly, these all, for the most part, I haven't been through all of them. I literally just got it. But these are all fairly accessible flowers and foods and herbs. Rosemary, right? Easy to come by in your local grocery store. So I really liked that. Marjoram, because what's the point if it's really hard to source? And I'm lucky I live in a place where I can order online or fairly easily source cool, groovy things, but I'd rather not. I'd rather just, use basil from the grocery store. So I really like that. But then the guidebook, I think, looks really great. So for every particular herb or plant, there's a meaning for the Oracle card, which I'll definitely have to use because, again, these don't spark any particular meanings for me, these plants right now. I hope they will. Eventually I can put the book away. Cultivation, how to grow it. Really good for someone who doesn't have a natural green thumb like me. So that's super cool. The soil needs to be very fertile and free draining to grow chilies, for example. It can survive in warm areas if cut back after the last harvest. Like, awesome. I don't know any of those things. So it's like a little gardening manual, magical correspondences, and then each one there's a spell for each little plant. So I'm really excited about this Oracle deck. So I got that for myself. It's really exciting. I also managed to find secondhand Gentle Tarot. I'm so excited. I had really hemmed and hawed this one about this one because it was just really expensive to buy and ship to Canada. And then a Canadian was selling their copy. They just didn't really jive with it, and for a very reasonable cost. And there was no conversion to American dollars. So I'm super excited. It's not, I have to say, this is one I'm buying. Why am I doing it like this? So I have to flip them over all the time. This is one that I might actually not have been drawn to particularly myself. This is the other reason I held off on it. It wasn't a make or break deck that I had to have, but so many people have loved working with it. And people I know who've said, yeah, the art style wasn't my first style I'd go to begin with, but I love it and it's so wonderful to work with. So for that reason, I thought it'll be popular. It'll be easy to rehome if I don't really jive with it. Oh my God, this Chariot card. And I don't usually, the Chariot, actually Chariot is my card for the year, my birth card for 2022. And I don't usually really jive with the Chariot, but boy, do I jive with that one. Ooh. So I'm pretty excited to work with the Gentle Tarot, which is why it's actually out and not in its box. And then finally, this was a bit of a rage buy, but I'm pretty excited about it because I've been actually thinking about getting this deck for years. But when I was so mad at the Green Witch's Yule Oracle, I think that's what it's called. I can't believe I can't think of it right now. It's like I blocked it. I was so mad at it. I was so disappointed because I wanted a wintry Oracle deck to work with. And I'd been looking at this deck for years and I was like, I'm just going to try it. It's the Messenger Oracle. So by Sandra Coons. And I know a lot of people know this deck. This is the back, but it's also one of the cards. And while this isn't a specific winter deck, it's certainly lots of the cards read like winter to me. Enter the Cave, that's actually a very wintry card. I think they're still even in order. Yeah. The artwork is beautiful. I'm excited to dive into the guidebook. So that one's not particularly wintry, but I just think it might sort of scratch that itch that I wanted from the Yule Oracle that it didn't give me. Although the images did. I still might keep it and try and mod it. Anyway, I'm not going to stop talking about it. So those were the things I got sort of around the holiday time. So they're exciting. Okay, top tarot decks of the year. So again, I'm going to miss a bunch probably because I'm going to miss a bunch because I was just like doing this super quick. So in no particular order, because I just had it out, the Tarot of Trees. Oh my God, the Tarot of Trees. I love this deck. I just apologized to it because I said for some reason it wouldn't be in my top 10 decks to keep in that only 10 decks tag of Katie Flowers. I'm wrong. I don't know what I was thinking. I was being all intellectual about it. Pfft. Whatever. I'm keeping this one. Something else has to get bumped. I love this deck so much. I've talked about it a ton on this channel. I did a what I've learned from video on it. Just really works for me. It speaks to me so loudly. I love that deck. Another one that was new to me this year that I really got along with, except for opening the box apparently, is the Super Lunaris Tarot. It's the little guidebook that comes with it, just a little folding guidebook. I got great readings with this deck this year. I'm not at all tired of working with it. I'm going to work with it into next year. I love the creators. I'm not very active on Instagram. I haven't been. I just lost my taste for it kind of this year. I just petered out and stopped posting for the most part. I'll probably get back to it, but I don't know. I got off the Instagram train. But anyway, the reason I said that, sorry, I got lost in these cards, is that they have a great Instagram feed. That's one of my favorite cards of all time. Ooh, I love you, Knight of Pentacles. A couple more. Oops. Yeah, I really, really like this deck. So I actually have two copies of it. First edition and a second edition. Second edition is more recent, obviously, but they've saturated the colors a little bit more. It's a touch brighter. The backs are slightly different color, but otherwise I think the art's all the same. But it's just really nice. And so I wanted to have one here and one up at my cottage. So now I do. What else did I use a lot this year? I spoke about this. This one was going to come. Maybe the tarot trees would bounce out actually. But it made it to my top 10 decks, or my only 10 decks I would keep, because it was such a surprise to me. I'd thought about the Antique Anatomy Tarot for a long time and hemmed and hawed, and eventually bought it in October because I thought it was spooky and fun. And I thought, oh, it'll be another great October deck. I do have a hard time resisting October decks, with the exception of the Dark Mansion Tarot, which I have no problem resisting. But otherwise, I'm always like, ooh, spooky and fun for October. And I really honestly start mid-September and probably continue it on into November with these decks. But what surprised me was just the fantastic readings I got from it. It's just a really great deck, and I love it a lot. So there's that one. Oh, my dogs are barking. Hush, 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 doggies. Hush. Of course, I'm not even going to show it. Of course, Smith-Waite Centennial. This happens to be my 1 in the 10. One of my thousands of Waite-Smith decks. Actually, oh shoot, I should have brought it up. I'll use it maybe in a later one, but I'm in love with the Tarot Vintage, the Lo Scarabeo deck that came out fairly recently. That's kind of supplanting my Centennial. Maybe is my favorite deck to work with at the moment. I love it so much. I love it so much. Was I going to talk about anything else? Oh God, so many. Pagan Otherworlds, great year with Pagan Otherworlds. Naked Heart. Ugh. No, okay. I'm going to move on because I'm going to try and get through 5 prompts. Top Oracle deck is easier for me because I don't use Oracle a ton, although I am pretty excited about the Green Witch Oracle. But at the top of my Oracle list, I'm just looking. Oh, I did bring it out. Good. Once again, I feel like I pull it out every year. Chris Ann's Sacred Creators Oracle. It just doesn't stop giving. This is the first edition. Oh, it's probably not the first edition, actually. I shouldn't say that. It's the indie edition. I think it's at least the second, and I don't know how many printings she did. But it's not the very first edition. So I'm not sure in sort of the range of her printings if there were a bunch of changes or anything like that throughout. But it constantly surprises me. I think it's going to be too simple, not fit with my readings, and then it just knocks my socks off. I used to take certain cards out because I was like, I don't really like that message, but I put them back in because they always come up when it fits. And her book, her accompanying book. Oh, I'm not going to, sorry, it is there. I'm not going to pull it down though because it's under a stack of books and it's going to tumble down like the walls of Jericho. Once again, what can I say? I love this deck. And the other one probably won't be a surprise either for my top Oracle decks because, I find it so beautiful and so consistently great. It's the Connected and Free Oracle by, Inner Hue. This is probably the most expensive Oracle deck that I own. I find the messages really great. I think the aesthetic really works for me. I don't have I've just forgotten the name. The Lumina? Yeah, the Lumina Tarot. I don't have that. I don't like it as much as I like this Oracle deck. And the Oracle deck looks like it's been made to work with. Oh, shoot. I should have pulled out the Way Home Tarot, which I used a bunch this year. I did a lot of tarot this year, actually. It works fantastic with the Naked Heart Tarot, with the Enema Mundi Tarot, with the Wild Unknown. Oh, it's a dream with the Wild Unknown. It's a really, really great deck. And I love it a lot. And so this is the only deck that I sometimes just do Oracle readings with, although that is incredibly rare. I'm just tarot first, Oracle second. It's just how I roll. Okay, books. I actually didn't read that many tarot-specific books this year. I was much more about reading just books about spirituality in general and spiritual paths. And I was also reading just a ton of other things this year. I got halfway through Rachel Pollack's 78 Degrees of Wisdom audio book, and I was like, no, I'm buying it because I want to write in it. It's so good. So I think that sort of counts, but I'm just waiting for it to arrive. But I did work my way through again. I've been through this one before, but I think that I don't know, maybe this isn't an underrated book, but I don't see people talking about it very much. Kim Huggins' Tarot 101. I'm pretty sure she did the Tarot Apocalypsis and maybe another deck or two, but I love this book. I love how it's set up. I love the exercises and the activities in it. I got a lot out of it the second time. And I think that is true. It's such a, I think when I got into tarot, seriously, I was like, I want to learn everything. And I like glutted myself on resources, but what's your potential recall on that? It's pretty hard to keep all of it up here. And then I didn't have a ton of experience to apply to this book when I first started. I was just like sort of churning through it. So to look at my understanding now and then go back and then think about her ideas, it was really great. So if you're not familiar with this book, I do highly recommend it. I found it really fun to work with and really fun to work with a second time. It definitely holds up to multiple readings. And then finally, the next prompt is the best/worst tarot moment of the year. I don't think I really had a worst tarot moment. No, they were all pretty good. I didn't love every reading I got or every reading I did necessarily. And nobody was really, I think, because we're all still sort of, I'm being cautious about COVID and, we've been through a number of different waves. I found that people who want to seek me out online are they're into it. They don't want to just seek me out to fight me about it. So that's nice. And I have a pretty small client base and I just do my thing. But I guess a good moment would be that I have a friend who I don't think that I got her interested in it, but I'm pretty private about my practice despite my presence here on YouTube. Like I just don't talk about it in my day-to-day life very much. But I did tell this friend of mine who I'd become sort of increasingly close with a couple years ago, and she asked me to do readings for her, and I bought her first deck and gave her an old deck of mine, and then she worked with it. It was an old old Rider-Waite-Smith an extra one I had. And then gave her a different one that spoke more to her aesthetic sensibilities once she felt like she wanted that. And she was going through a really, really difficult time yesterday. And then she messaged me just to say that she had done this reading for herself and found it really helpful. And was just really, it was just a really sweet moment to share. And her own readings are great. And that would probably be my highlight, actually. There is a prompt later on talking about have you not talked them into the tarot or, what are your ideas about tarot going mainstream? And I'll talk about those prompts when I get there. But it was really sweet. And it was something that helped me through such a difficult time in my own life that whatever gets you through those times, I support. And so the idea that maybe something that I could contribute in this little tiny, tiny way to help her get through this very difficult time in her life made me feel pretty happy that she found comfort in the cards. Yay. So 8 days late, those are my first 5 answers. And probably over the next week and a half, I'll maybe catch up to where I'm supposed to be today. But I'm looking forward to watching all of yours too. I'm sure everybody's more organized than me, but I hope you enjoyed it and have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.